Well, we begin with the latest developments from the Russia-Ukraine war. Hours ahead of the NATO summit in Turkiye on Tuesday this week, an all-out war has once again erupted between Russia and Ukraine after Russia launched a major wave of missile and drone attacks targeting Kiev and several other regions. In response, Ukraine struck an oil terminal in Russia's Baltic Sea port of Vyotsk and a refinery in the Kaluga region. Now, according to Ukrainian officials, the overnight assault by the Russian army is among the most significant attacks in recent days, coming just days after another deadly bombardment of the Ukrainian capital. The toll has been rising, but authorities say that at least 11 people have been killed so far, while more than 60 others have been injured, including children. Emergency crews continue rescue operations amid fears that more people may still be trapped beneath the rubble. Dramatic visuals show the extent of damage in Ukraine. The attack struck residential neighborhoods, apartment buildings and civilian infrastructure across Kiev. Images from the city show collapsed buildings, burnt-out vehicles, shattered windows, and firefighters battling large blazes as rescue workers searched through the debris. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia launched 68 missiles and 351 drones during the attack. The country's air defense systems intercepted a large number of the incoming drones and cruise missiles. However, officials acknowledged that several advanced ballistic and hypersonic missiles penetrated Ukrainian defenses, causing extensive destruction in the capital. However, officials also acknowledged that several advanced ballistic and hypersonic missiles did penetrate Ukrainian defenses. Now, the latest strikes also follow another devastating Russian attack on Kiev just days ago. Remember, the earlier bombardment killed around 30 people, making it one of the deadliest attacks on the Ukrainian capital this year. Thousands of residents sought shelter in underground metro stations as hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles struck multiple parts of the city. Ukrainian officials have warned that Russia appears to be increasing both the scale and the frequency of its long-range attacks. While Russia's defense ministry says the strikes were aimed at military facilities, airfields and energy infrastructure, Ukraine says that civilian neighborhoods were once again bearing the brunt of the attacks, and they accused Moscow of deliberately targeting populated areas. President Volodymyr Zelensky described the latest assault as another act of terror against civilians. In a statement following the attacks, Zelensky urged Ukraine's Western partners to strengthen the country's air defense capabilities. He said, and I quote him, "It is extremely important for the world, first and foremost America and our European partners, to emerge from the NATO summit in Ankara with strong decisions to support our air defense. As long as missiles for Patriots remain in the warehouses of allies, it only encourages Russia to continue. The United States and Europe have enough power to stop this terror." Now, here's why this latest violence is significant. It comes at a particularly significant diplomatic moment. Leaders are beginning to gather in Ankara for the big NATO summit, where Ukraine's security and future military assistance are expected to dominate the discussions. Zelensky has repeatedly called on allies attending the summit to make strong decisions in support of Ukraine's defense, arguing that sustained military assistance remains essential as Russia intensifies its aerial campaign. After the attacks, EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said, and I quote her, "Ukraine urgently needs more air defense. We will discuss it this week in Ankara at the NATO summit. We are working hard to seal the deal on the 21st sanctions package in the next days." Now, military analysts say that Moscow has increasingly relied on combined attacks involving large numbers of drones launched alongside cruise and ballistic missiles. The tactic is designed to overwhelm Ukrainian air defenses, forcing defenders to engage multiple threats simultaneously and increasing the likelihood that some missiles reach their intended targets. Despite the shortage, Ukraine has continued its own long-range drone campaign inside Russia. Remember, in the recent days, Ukrainian drones have struck oil terminals, fuel infrastructure and logistics facilities, including targets linked to Russia's military supply network. These operations intended to disrupt Russia's logistics and reduce its capacity to sustain military operations along the front line. And remember, they have succeeded to some extent. Reports suggest that Russian citizens have been forced to stand in long queues at gas stations, leading to frustration and, in some cases, even fist fights. Meanwhile, fighting on the ground continues across the eastern Ukraine, particularly in the Donetsk region, where Russian forces are pressing offensives around the strategically important towns. Heavy combat is also continuing near the front lines, even as both countries expand the use of drones, precision missiles and long-range strikes far from the battlefield. Amid this, the humanitarian impact of this deadly war continues to grow. Rescue workers remain on site across the affected areas of Kiev, searching damaged buildings for survivors. Medical teams are treating dozens of injured civilians, while local authorities continue clearing debris and restoring electricity and essential services where possible. With no breakthrough in the peace negotiations and both sides continuing long-range strikes, the conflict is once again an all-out war. With no let-up for now, Ukraine continues to reinforce its air defenses, while Russia presses ahead with large-scale aerial attacks, underscoring that nearly 4.5 years into this full-scale war, there is still no immediate sign of easing.